Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to the online classes Standard 12 Biology, Reproductive Health. The next concept which we are going to deal in reproductive health is medical termination of pregnancy. Medical termination of pregnancy is intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy. It is otherwise called as induced abortion. And nearly 45 to 50 millions of MTPs are performed, which accounts to 1/5 of the total number of conceived pregnancies. So, the number was increasing, that is 1/5 of the conceived pregnancies were undergoing termination. For this, the government of India has legalized this MTP in the year 1971. Because the number has been increased, the government of India has taken an action and it has been legalized in the year 1971. Now, why do they go for MTP? It is to get rid of unwanted pregnancies due to unprotected intercourse. So, it is an unwanted pregnancies. It may have because of unprotected intercourse or during the rape. So, it is essential in certain cases where continuation of pregnancy could be harmful or it may be fatal to either the mother, fetus or both. So, in such cases the termination can be done, and MTPs are safe till during which time we all know that it is 9 months plus the gestation period, and when it can be done, it is very safe during the first trimester, that is within the 12 weeks, 3 months. So, it is very safe, but if it has to be done later on, that is little riskier, but if it is needed or it is essential, the termination can be done. And what is it they are doing with MTP? Why do they do MTP? In certain cases, we all have studied that misuse of amniocentesis has been done. In the previous topic when we have studied, we said that the amniotic fluid is taken and is tested, the fetal cells have been tested to determine the sex of the child. And once if they find it is female, they will go for female feticides. So, it has been observed that many cases are being done. So, the government of India has strictly legalized this in the year 1971. So, the misuse of amniocentesis to determine the sex of the child, because it is illegal and it is punishable. Now, then when we go to the next concept, that is sexually transmitted infections. What are sexually transmitted infections? The word itself tells the infections or the disease which are transmitted during the sexual intercourse or during the sex contact. And these sexual transmitted disease or otherwise called as venereal disease, or they are associated with reproductive organs. So, it is otherwise called as reproductive tract infection. So, the disease which are transmitted through sexual intercourse or through sexual contact, it is called as sexually transmitted infections, or they are called as sexually transmitted diseases. And these symptoms, that is if it has been detected in the earlier cases, in earlier stages, then it is better, cure is there for these disease. And what is that they do? It is prevention is better than cure. And what is that they have to do? They have to avoid sexual intercourse within multiple partners, or they should not have intercourse with unknown partners. And whenever they have a sexual intercourse, they have to use the condoms and the precautionary measures have to be taken. So, if the sexually transmitted diseases has to be prevented, they should have sex only with a partner, that is with unknown partners it should not be done, and it should not be done with multiple partners, and whenever they have to use the condoms and they have to take precautionary measures. And in case if they have any doubt, they have to go to the advice of the qualified doctor. Now, what are the sexually transmitted diseases? Some of the sexually transmitted diseases we will go through it. Some of them are syphilis, you will see that some of the are syphilis, gonorrhea, genital herpes, chlamydiasis, genital warts, trichomoniasis, hepatitis B and HIV. You all are familiar with these terms, I think so. So, when we talk about this HIV, we all know that it is a fatal disease and which is caused by the sexual contact, and it is not only that sexual contact, but it has also been transmitted through sharing of injection needles or by transfusion of blood or from infected mother to the fetus. So, among these diseases, sexually transmitted diseases, hepatitis B, you all know that the hepatitis B is caused by hepatitis B virus, and the HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, which causes AIDS, can be transmitted through sharing of injection needles or any needles, that is whatever the instruments, whatever they have used, and then transfusion of blood, or it can be from infected mother to fetus. And these diseases, because they are associated with reproductive regions, it may lead to pelvic inflammatory disease, in short what you call them as PIDs, and it may cause stillbirth and infertility are some of the complications which are associated with sexually transmitted diseases. And what are the symptoms? Most of these diseases have common symptoms like itching, fluid discharge, and they have slight pain, swelling and difficulty during urination. So, these are the common symptoms of STD. We will see what are the causative agents for these sexually transmitted diseases. The syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum. So, syphilis sexually transmitted disease is caused by a Treponema pallidum. Gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria gonorrhea, and chlamydiasis is caused by Chlamydia trachomatis, and these three are bacterial sexually transmitted disease, that is the disease are being transmitted by bacteria. And this hepatitis B is caused by hepatitis B virus, AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which is caused by human immunodeficiency virus, and this genital warts is also caused by a virus called as human papilloma virus. So, these three diseases are caused by virus, and the trichomoniasis is caused by Trichomonas vaginalis. So, what is the, how do you prevent this sexually transmitted disease? The disease can be curable. It's only that is if it is been diagnosed or detected in the early stages, it is easier to detect, but many of them think that it is an asymptomatic. So, it is very difficult to identify or detect the disease, but most of the diseases are curable, and one best way is prevention is better than cure. Topic reproductive health. will become incomplete without a mention of infertility. What is infertility? Infertility is inability to conceive even after 2 years of unprotected sexual cohabitation is called infertility. That is, there are many couples who are infertile all over the world. That is, it is inability to conceive even after 2 years of unprotected sexual cohabitation. And what are the reasons for this? It may be physical, congenital, either it may be because of congenital diseases, or it may be due to certain drugs intake, immunological or psychological reasons. So, infertility may be because of physical, congenital, either it may be because of intake of certain drugs, immunological or psychological reasons. Now, there are so many infertility clinics which have been established, and these infertility clinics will help in diagnosing and enabling these couples to have children by a technique called as assisted reproductive technology. What are the procedures you will find in ART? We will see the picture little later. They go with in vitro fertilization. What is in vitro fertilization? That is the fertilization which takes place outside the body, providing these conditions which is there inside the body. And such kind of fertilization is called as in vitro fertilization. What do they do in vitro fertilization? The gametes have been collected, that is the ova and the sperms, and they are induced to form a zygote, and this is being transferred inside the female reproductive tract, and it is popularly known as test tube baby. So, the fertilization is taking place outside the body. Now, after the fusion, that is after fertilizing, that is the zygote, where it is being introduced, the site of transfer of this zygote, based on that there are two different types of in vitro processes, that is, one is GIFT, that is zygote is being transferred. Where it is being transferred? It is being transferred into a fallopian tube. So, you call that as zygote intrafallopian transfer, in short, which is called as GIFT. And the other one is called as IUT. What is that? It is transferred into the uterus. So, it is called as intrauterine transfer. So, after the zygote formed outside the body, it is being transferred either into the intrafallopian tube, or it may be introduced into the uterus. There are two types, what we call it as GIFT and the other one is IUT. Now, what is the other one? What we call it as intracytoplasmic, that is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. The word tells, that is, the sperm is being introduced into the cytoplasm of the ova, is what we call it as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. That is, the sperm is directly injected into the ova. Then you call that technique as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Now, the other one is called as in vivo fertilization. What is in vivo fertilization? it is inside the body. If it is taking place inside the body, you call it as in vivo. In this, the fusion of gametes will take place within the female, and in this we will study about gift. What is it? Gamete intrafallopian transfer. That is, the transfer, the ovum is being transferred from donor into the fallopian of another female who cannot produce, but they can provide suitable environment for fertilization. So, in this gift method, the ovum has been transferred from the donor into the fallopian of another female who cannot produce, but she will provide a suitable environment for fertilization. That technique is what we call it as gift. Then the next one is called as artificial insemination. What is artificial insemination? Introducing the semen is called as artificial insemination. So, the semen is being collected. From whom it has been collected? It has been collected either from the husband or from any healthy donor, and it is artificially introduced either into the vagina or into the uterus. It is called as intrauterine insemination. When do they do this? That is, if the sperm counts are very low. In such cases, the semen is being collected and it is being introduced into the vagina, and then it is called as intrauterine insemination. And the first test tube baby was being developed by, that is, the child's name is called as Louis Joy Brown, born in England on July 25th in the year 1978, and it is being assisted by Dr. Patrick Steptoe and Dr. Robert Edward. So, the parents who are infertile, who have difficulty in producing the child, they can go for any of these techniques to produce, to develop or to give birth to a child. We will see some of the pictures. Now, here we will recall what it is what we have studied now. The first one, what you were talking about, that in vitro fertilization, here you will find that the eggs are combined with the sperm. So, where it is being done? In the laboratory conditions. We said that the conditions are as same as inside the body. So, you are providing the suitable environment for the fusion. So, here the eggs are combined with the sperm and the fertilization occurs, that is, it becomes into a zygote and the development of an embryo takes place, and it is of 8 cell stage, 16 or 36 cell stage when it is there. This embryo is transferred into, and then it has been transferred inside so that the implantation will take place. And the second one is what we call it as gamete intrafallopian transfer. In this, eggs and sperms are collected in a syringe and unfertilized eggs and the sperm are transferred into a fallopian tube. Normally, you will find that here the fertilization is done outside the body, and then the zygote at 8 cell, 36 cell stage, it is being introduced. Here the egg and the semen is being collected and the unfertilized eggs are transferred into the fallopian tube for fertilization to take place. That is what you call it as gametes. Gametes are being transferred inside so that the fertilization takes place. What you call it as gamete intrafallopian transfer, that is called as the gift. And the next one is called as a zygote intrafallopian transfer. What you call it as gift. In this, eggs are combined with the sperm in a laboratory. Then fertilization occurs and a single celled embryo called a zygote is removed, and that is transferred into the fallopian tube, where it grows normally and travels into the female uterus for implantation. So, in gift, the eggs are combined with the sperm in a laboratory, and the fertilization when it occurs, when it is in a single cell, that is the zygote which is there, that is being removed, it is transferred into the fallopian tube where it grows normally and travels into the uterus where implantation takes place. Here it is in 8 celled or 16 cell or 36 cell, but here it is a single cell, that is a zygote, which is being transferred. And then the last one what we have talked about is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. In short, we were calling it as ICSI. In this, a single sperm is removed from man's semen. The single sperm is injected into an egg in the laboratory dish, and the fertilized egg is transferred into the woman's uterus. When you say that the motility and the fertility of the sperms, based on that the semen is being taken outside and it is being injected into an egg, and after that it is being transferred into the uterus. What we call it as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So, all these techniques are it has to be done by highly qualified doctors, and the parents who are infertile can have children. And the other thing is, there are so many children who are orphan children who are there. If they are blessed, these parents can have parenthood